Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user Throwaway Argyle. Me, 28 male, with my girlfriend, 27 female of 6 months. She found out that one of her co-workers is my ex-friend or friend with benefits, 27 female. She felt insecure. Now one of my sweaters I got from ex is torn up. Is this breakup worthy? I really loved this sweater. It was smart casual with a striped pattern from a fancy Italian brand. I could wear it to work as well as for an evening out, and I really liked how I looked in it. I'm really pissed to lose it. Now, some backstories on the relationships. My girlfriend is Hannah. We met because we live on the same street and we used to have our pre-work morning coffee at the same cafe. Our coffee meetups slowly turned into dates and we've officially been a couple for about 6 months. I like her, she's sweet and smart and pretty, but we are taking it slow since both of us were coming off of terrible breakups. She broke up with her fella of 10 years and their relationship ended in a hail of fights and petty behavior which tore apart their friends and pissed off their families. The reasons were never clear to me. All Hannah said was that all their relationship problems came up at the same time and everything simply unraveled. My breakup was kinda different. Haley and I never officially dated, but we had been friends for a very long time. We slept together once when we were both in between relationships, but we were both sure that we worked better as friends. 2 years back, Haley broke up from a bad relationship and we got into a semi-official friends with benefits situation. It asked we would still hang out and talk as friends, but once in a while we'd also have some form of physical intimacy. Both of us also got really busy with our careers, so we never really had any other romantic relationships. Sometime later, Haley brought up our relationship and told me she was falling for me as more than a friend and wanted to explore a relationship with me. But I didn't. I had my own reasons, mainly that we had some fundamentally mismatched views on life that would make a relationship really hard. We worked really well as friends and she was really important to my life and I didn't want to jeopardize that by getting into a relationship. Well, I still lost that relationship. She essentially went no contact, and no matter how much I hated it, I couldn't really say much since it was a reasonable thing for her to do for her own sake. But it really hurt. Losing her as a friend hurt way more than any breakup I've ever had, and it took me a while to find my footing. Hannah knew the basic details about my and Haley's relationship and wasn't too curious about it. She also knew that I had a few things that Haley had given me but never raised an issue about it, especially since she had a bunch of gifts from her ex as well. About a month ago I accompanied Hannah to an office party. To my surprise, Haley was also there. Turns out that she started working there recently at a different department from Hannah's. We exchanged pleasantries and tried some small talk, but it was awkward and lasted maybe 3 minutes, most of which was silence. Then Haley left early and I didn't see her again. While I talked to Haley, Hannah was somewhere else and when she came back I told her about it. She had never met her before, big company, but her curiosity was piqued. In any case, I got into a jovial party mood and everything went back to normal. Until last Friday. When I was at work, I got a flurry of texts from Hannah basically stating that she finally met Haley. Now, you should know that Haley is really attractive, like modeling offers since she was 16 attractive. Plus, her job also means that she's always dressed to kill, event manager for high-end corporate parties. Well, seeing Haley did a number on Hannah. She didn't come out and say it, but she suddenly got extremely curious about Haley as well as our relationship, with a lot of questions about everything. She even specifically mentioned the sweater, saying, "No wonder you love that sweater so much." I tried my best to assuage her insecurities. I told her that there was absolutely nothing between Haley and me. We haven't even talked to each other in more than a year, except for 3 awkward minutes during that party. I also told her that I really liked her and could see our relationship going pretty far. But I was also low-key annoyed with the whole conversation. Anyways, Hannah slept over Saturday night and I thought we had gotten somewhat past this momentary burst of jealousy. Then she left early on Sunday morning saying something had come up even though we had plans to spend the day together. Then that evening I was going through my laundry and I saw the sweater with a big hole in the armpit, like someone had tried to literally pull it apart with their bare hands. Now, it's obvious that it was Hannah's doing. I had worn that sweater on Thursday, and when I put it aside for dry cleaning, it was fine. No one else had come to my flat since then. I texted her asking about it directly. May have not been the best tactic, but I was incredibly pissed off. She was on the defensive from the get-go, denying that she did it, coming up with various ways that could have happened, and continuously telling me that I was an a-hole for thinking that she was crazy like that. Today morning, she texted me all pissed and curt and told me that yes, the provenance of the sweater bothered her, but she didn't do it. I think I need to dump her, but I've been second guessing myself a fair bit as well. Hannah has always been really sweet and is very caring and sensitive about my feelings. I really like her and we don't have any fundamental differences. We can genuinely have a good, fulfilling relationship, and maybe this ripping up a sweater thing was just a momentary lapse of judgment which she is extremely embarrassed about and hence her defensiveness. What do you think? Well, OP, first thing I would say is you do really need to find out what happened to that sweater. I mean, sure, all of the evidence points to her doing it, and if that is the case, that she did it, I would say that maybe she needs to work on some things before she's in a relationship with anybody. Meaning that, yeah, I think you should end the relationship if she did tear the sweater up. However, if for whatever reason you've missed something and one of her plausible explanations is what happened, or even not, but it wasn't her, then I would think you owe her an apology. But like I said in the beginning, you need to know what actually happened in order to make a decision. Because if she didn't do it and it was a momentary lapse of jealousy because whatever, then maybe you guys can work through that together. However, if this momentary lapse of insecurity and jealousy made her act that way, then I would say that is kind of a deal breaker because she needs to work on her issues personally. And what do you guys think about what happened here? Do you think Hannah did it? If so, do you think OP should dump her? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they had to say. Chica Chica says, look, I make knit sweaters and I've repaired a number of store-bought sweaters for my spouse. The thing is that it's really easy to miss a loose thread on an armpit of a sweater, and it's really easy for them to unravel at that site and it'll look like a run or split seam. What I'm saying is that she may not have destroyed your sweater. I mean, I wouldn't go for that kind of weirdly specific hole making if I were in a jealous rage. Plus, if that's the location of the damage, it's totally repairable. So before you decide to go further, what you need to do is decide if you actually believe she damaged the sweater and is lying to you, or if it's possible that the reason she's getting so defensive is because she had nothing to do with the sweater and feels like this is your way of blaming and getting rid of her. Cat3691 says, everyone keeps saying dump her without having proof that she did it. Why would she lie outright to your face? If she's lying, she's crazy. But what if she's not? How much do you like this girl? If it's a lot, then honesty is needed going forward, and you better sit her down and discuss every last insecurity until there's nothing but truth between you guys. If you don't like her that much and are leaning towards just dumping her based on what looks like good evidence, then go ahead, your choice. Ripping the sweater is crazy, being jealous of a gorgeous ex is not. So a herder says, she's 27 years old and reacted to your having an ex-friends with benefits by ripping up a prized personal item of yours, then doubled down by lying and saying she didn't do it. This is a window into her conflict management strategies, including how she handles her insecurities. Insecurities which you had already had frank conversations about and reassured her. She moreover keeps lying about it and telling you that you're the a-hole here. It's just not a momentary lapse at this point. It's an ongoing lapse that lasted Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and counting. It is your choice as to whether you want to break up about this, but I can't really call it a momentary lapse. I would call it a red flag, actually multiple red flags, because she keeps doubling and redoubling down on it. Alright, well, the community gave OP different perspectives and things to think about. Now, unfortunately, he didn't reply to any of the questions, so there is no additional context I can give you at this point, which means we're moving straight on to the update to see how this story ends. Since it's been 10 days and the matter has been settled in a satisfactory manner, I thought I'd update you guys as to the final conclusion. I've had a few pints, so forgive the disjointedness. Before I give you all an update, I like to address some frequently asked questions about the previous post. First of all, it was a Loro Piana jumper. It's not repairable, I asked around. Second, my evidence for knowing that Hannah was the culprit is circumstantial but compelling. To start, after I put it in the pile meant for dry cleaning, it was covered by a bunch of other stuff. When I discovered its tattered remains, it was bunched up in a ball on top of the pile. Also, the tear was 8 inches or 20 centimeters long, something I would have noticed quite comfortably if it had happened while I was wearing it or while I put it in the laundry pile. Thirdly, while it was torn, it was also stretched completely out of shape. The stretching would be consistent with someone grabbing 2 sides of it and pulling it apart. But most convincingly, when I confronted Hannah, aggressively, I admit, she started telling me about all the alternative ways in which the damage could have happened, with exact knowledge of the type of damage my poor jumper had suffered. I had never mentioned the type of damage, namely that it was in the armpit area, along the seam, along with the stretching. To the lady who sent me a very heartfelt and foul-mouthed rant plea, yes, I think people have every right to feel insecure and inadequate. Yes, people have every right to act like an idiot. Yes, I have done stupid things due to a lack of control over my emotions. And yes, I'm weird and materialistic enough to love a jumper more than a woman I'm dating. But no, I don't think she deserves my forgiveness for this slip-up, and that is because it wasn't the insecurity. It was the lack of control, and it wasn't the materialism that made me want to break up. It was the lying and deceitful manner in which she behaved afterward. It was the insanely manipulative way in which she turned herself into the victim and demanded an apology from me. And yeah, the cursing directed at me didn't help. Now to the update. I must warn you, this is fairly dramatic as well as anticlimactic. Her curt behavior after my ill-fated confrontation lasted 2 days. Then, she called me about 40 times to beg me for forgiveness. Even though I avoided the calls, I did hear the voicemails and my empathy was piqued. She also pretty much admitted to her guilt in some of those voicemails. But then I also came to know that preceding those calls, she had lashed out towards Haley, my ex-friend and friends with benefits, at their workplace, and that it was ugly as well as had the potential to spiral negatively for her career. The anticlimactic part is that I didn't even have to break up with Hannah. She has essentially moved in with her parents up north. She sent me a message through a mutual acquaintance stating that she realizes that she has quite a few issues she needs to handle from her breakup with her ex-fiancé, and our decision to date was pretty much doomed from the start. I wished her the best of luck with her journey. Another mutual acquaintance approached me, this time one between me and Haley. She sent word apologizing for her role in my relationship meltdown. I told her there was nothing to apologize for on her end, and I also asked for her forgiveness for inadvertently causing workplace dramatics. And that was that. Thank you all for your words and brickbats. It was enlightening, entertaining, and infuriating. Interesting combination for sure, but then that's why one turns to random internet strangers for advice. Well, OP, I'd say this is a really good resolution. I mean, it sucks that your sweater died in all of this, but at least now you know the truth, and Hannah realized that she needs to work on stuff and is going to actively do that, so good for her. Again, it sucks that you lost a sweater, but at least everything is in the clear and you can move on. So thank you so much for sharing, OP, and take care. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge. It comes with an update and it's by user cjanes96. My neighbor cursed me for using my own yard. Well, I'm going to use it even more. So, I have lived in a townhouse for the last 3 years. I live with my husband and 2 60-pound dogs. For a bit of background, I got attacked by a dog just before my neighbors moved in 2.5 years ago, which left me with a fear of strange animals up until recently when I was able to work through my trauma with my therapist. My neighbors have 4 loud and reactive dogs, 3 Chihuahuas and 1 Australian Shepherd, which charge the fence whenever they see someone on the other side and bark constantly. This has prevented me from using my backyard for the last 2 summers. Now that I have worked past the panic attacks and fear, I am spending a majority of weekends in my yard and allow my dogs to go back and forth freely from the yard. My dogs have been well socialized and don't have any interest in the fence when the other dogs are reacting. Up until yesterday, when the neighbors' dogs come out, I would bring my dogs inside, but it would still mean a minute or so for their dogs to calm down. I would let my dogs back outside to play when the neighbors go back in. This was no big deal to me. Now, cue Sunday. The neighbors let their dogs out. They react. I bring my dogs in. Same old routine. Except my neighbor curses me under her breath. Keep your effing door shut. This is not the first time they have been rude either. This gets under my skin, considering her dog's reactivity is the reason I did not feel comfortable in my own backyard, and it is not my dogs who are reactive. Plus, I've always been the one to bring my dogs in, not the neighbor. So, I've started to be a bit petty. Now when the neighbors lets their dogs out, I stay out and play fetch with my dogs while her animals are going ape crap, instead of bringing my dogs inside as I have always done. My dogs love it because they are getting more exercise than before. It's only been 3 days and my neighbor is exasperated and has to chase her dogs around the garden. Side note, they have another dog on the opposite side of them which they are equally reactive to as well. I have patio furniture being delivered tomorrow and I fully expect to enjoy my yard to the fullest this summer. After a week or two, I'll probably put up a visual blockade so her dogs can't see mine to be nice, but I'm not going to restrict my well-trained animals for her untrained ones any longer. Don't appreciate my courtesy? I won't give it. Opie's update. Neighbors decided to cuss me out and tell me to go inside last night. I said no, but put the dogs inside because the neighbors were being aggressive. They said, "Our dogs should be able to be outside too. Go inside." I said, "Your dog's reactivity is not my problem and they are more than welcome to use your yard. The fact they can't stop charging the fence long enough to piss is your issue," and stood in the middle of my yard. They shouted at me to "Get the F inside." I told them to "Make me." A bit childish, I know. One told me to "Meet them out front." I said, "No, if you want something from me, climb over this fence yourself." They yelled a bit more and I didn't respond and they went inside after a minute. I think the neighbors have finally cracked a bit and it's only week 1. Not proud and honestly don't want to deal with this nonsense, but I'm not going to bend to a bully. Well done, OP. You're right, their dog's reactivity is not your problem and your dogs should be able to get the exercise and enjoy their backyard. So OP, good for you for working on your issue and standing up to that idiotic bully of a neighbor that you have. She should be the one that closes her effing door. Get out of here. Thanks so much for sharing, OP, and take care. Now, I think I can include one more story before we leave today's video, so let's move on with that. And this post is also from the subreddit Petty Revenge, and it's by user Divided by Zero. You're still handing out your old number after 5 years? Enjoy your appointments being cancelled. So I've had my number for 5 years, maybe 6, I don't remember exactly. When I got this number, the previous owner still got regular messages and phone calls, which is completely understandable that she didn't have everyone up to date on her newest number or lack of number. For the first 3 months, it was nothing to me. I'd answer the calls and send them on their way. Well, that was until I got a phone call from an elementary school looking for, let's call her Sarah. Sarah's daughter was throwing up and running a high fever and needed to go home. I told the school this was a new number for me and there was no Sarah around. I thought certainly this issue would make her come to the realization that she needed to update her number, but no. I had to block the school's number because I continued to get calls and texts that had way too much information about Sarah's daughter, including her name, age, and school events with times and changes in school schedules. I wasn't comfortable receiving that information, so I blocked it. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I blocked the school, Sarah's grandmother calls me because I assumed the school couldn't get a hold of Sarah. But I have to tell grandma that I'm not Sarah and to please ask her granddaughter to update her information. Sarah still did not. With all of the information that I unwillingly had on Sarah, full name, age, where she attends college, her home address, and where she works, I found her on Facebook and kindly asked her to not use her old number anymore. I'm not sure if she saw the message or not, but it didn't help my problem. This has been ongoing for years, and it's not just spam, it's people she knows, co-workers, family, doctors, her real estate agent even. So before, if she had appointments that week asking to be verified via text to my phone, I would just ignore them. But she had an appointment this time and I am just fed up of Sarah still giving out this number after 5 years of this nonsense that I cancelled her appointment for her. A few days later, a new appointment at the same place needed verification and I cancelled it again. and the next one I get will be cancelled also. Get your crap together, Sarah. Oh wow, yeah, OP, you're right. Get your crap together, Sarah. Hopefully she will at some point. Thanks so much for sharing, OP, and take care. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.